Welcome back, guys. So after we created our first map and we named it my first map, now we need to see how can we add layers. On the add tab right here, when you click on it, you will see that you have several options. We will go through each option to see how can we add a layer using this option. But first, let me change the base map to return it to street, so we can see the layers we will add. And then here I will add a search for layers, and this one allow you to search for layers in your content. So here in your content, if you have a lot of layers, sometimes you might end up having like 100 or 200 layers, and you just want to search to add a certain layer. You choose content and you search for the layer and you add it from here. Or if you have your favorites or your groups, you can add content to your favorites or to your groups, or you can search using Living Atlas. So it depends on what option you choose here. When you type a layer name, it will show up right here. So right now I don't have any layers that can be added to my map in my content, so I will add a layer to my content right now so we can see how we can find it here and add it to our map. So here in my content I will go and add a layer quickly, just show you that we can search our content. So I'm gonna open one of the map services that Esri have. I'm gonna open any layer here, and we'll just take this URL, go to the content, add item from URL. You don't need to worry about this right now because I'm gonna show you exactly what this does, but I just want to add a simple layer right here right now, so I show you how can it be used to search on the content right here. So right now I added one of the contents, it's layer on my content right now, and at this time I can add it to my favorites, I can add it to assign it to a group, and when I go to my map and I try to search my content, I will find right here, and as you see right now I will see all the layers that I have in my content. If I have any other layers can be added to the map. And after you search for any layer, you can search on my content, my favorites, my group. You can search on Living Atlas, and Living Atlas have so many data that you can search for. So for example, if you want to add anything related to traffic, you can search for traffic, and you will find a lot of layers published by Esri or published by other people on ArcGIS Online that give you traffic information. Or you can search for any data, like for example hospitals, specific country, cities, rivers. You can search for anything on Living Atlas. And here we have ArcGIS Online, where you can search for any layer published by anyone on ArcGIS Online, and it's shared for the public. So that means if I came here and I change it, the sharing for this layer right here, right now it's private, and I change it to public, anyone can see this layer as part of my content and they can add it to their map. So here for example, let's search for transportation, and as you see you have a lot of options. So for example, I can add this layer right here by clicking on this plus sign, and you will see that the transportation layer or the roads layer for the world transportation been added to my map right here. So I can now use this layer as any other layer. So that's the way you can search for layers. So you go to add, search for layers, you have the option to search on content, favorites, groups, Living Atlas or ArcGIS Online, and after you find your layer, you click on this plus sign to add it to your map. And if you want to see more information about the layer before you add it, you can click on here and you will see more information and details about this layer, like what this layer is about, who published it, and when it is created, and how many features in it, and any other information about this specific layer. So you can read any details about any layer before you add it. So that's the option for search for layers. You search for them and you add them. Here, browse Living Atlas layers, same thing as you choose Living Atlas from here, same exact thing, it just gives you a different way to access it from here. And here you have the option to add a layer from the web, and this allow you to enter a URL for any ArcGIS server web service that will add this layer on your map. So here you have the options to add ArcGIS server web service, WMS, WMTS, tile layer, KML layer, CSV file. You have so many options to add any layer out of these types, but it have to be hosted online. So you can host a KML file online and you can add it to your map. You can host a CSV file online and you can add it to your map from here. So as we added this layer to our content, now before I add it to my content, and I can just choose this URL right here using this REST services, and I go here to my map and I say I want to add an ArcGIS server web service, and I will paste my URL here and I will say add layer. and this will add the layer for me. As you see right now, this is a layer that shows the auto theft that happened in San Francisco, and it shows in points, and I added this map right here. It now show up in my content. I added through add layer from the web. So that's the option to add layer from the web. You can add any layer that is hosted on any server, including ArcGIS server like the one we have right here. The next option we have here is add layer from file, and this will allow you to add layers from your computer. So you don't need to publish it anywhere, you don't need to add it to your content, you just upload the file and you add your layer on your map. And the data or the data types you can add a shapefile, but it have to be in a zip format, and we will see how we can do that. You can add CSV file, you can add text file, you can add GPX, which is a GPS information file, or you can add a Geojson file, which is a geographic JSON formatted file. So let's see how can we add each type of these layers. In our course data folder, you will see that we have a folder called ArcGIS Online and Enterprise, and when you go to this folder, you will see that you have multiple folders inside of it. So for example, let's say I want to add the California shapefiles, and here this is the shapefiles I have for California, the same one we used on ArcGIS Pro, and I can add a shapefile as a zip file right here. And in order to make your shapefile as a zip file, if we go back here and I opened USA shapefiles, you will see that I have a lot of files right here called states, and all these files actually represent one shapefile. So in order to add it to ArcGIS Online, I need to select all of them and right click and say send to compressed zip, and I will have my zip file right here. Now I can delete all these layers and delete it, and now I can upload this to ArcGIS Online and add it to my map as a shapefile. And let's see how can we do that. So here I will go back to my map. I will say I want to add a shapefile, so I will choose a file, go to my folder location, go to the one I just changed right now, and here I have the states.zip. I will say open, and I will say import layer. And now you will see that the entire states of the United States of America have been added to our map using a zip file. As you see right now, we have the layer been added to our map. As you see on our folder location, it's just a zip file, but when we uploaded it, it was showing exactly like how we see a shapefile on ArcGIS Desktop or ArcGIS Pro. So let's go back to the details, and you will see that you have here in the content, you have a new layer called states, and this is the one that shows the states of the United States of America. So this is how you can add a zip file. Let's see the other options to add a CSV and text file. So here also, when you open the folder location, you will see that we have other files folder. When you open it, you will see that you have all the other types. So here it tells you that you can add a CSV or text. Here you have the CSV, here you have the text, and both of them showing Texas addresses, the file that we used before, and here GPX file that shows you tracking information for a GPS locations, and here you have a Geojson file that you can upload as well. So this files formats is different formats to show geographic information. So this is the shapefile. CSV file will show you like lat and long for locations, or a text file as well. So for example, if I add the CSV file or the text file, I'll say OK. You will see that because my text file have geographic information and have lat and long, it will show up on my map as I see right now. And the other types is TXT, GPX, and JSON. So you can add any of these types. So let me show you quickly how these files look like from inside. So if I open a new notepad and I open the other files, the CSV file will look like this. It just have the information and it's comma separated, and at the end you have the lat and long that will show up on the map. So ArcGIS Online will use this information as lat and long and will add the location for each record on the map. The second file is Geojson. It have the same exact information, but it will be formatted in different way. So when you open the Geojson, you will see that you have each record or each feature represented as an object, and each attribute is shown as properties, and again you will see the lat and long here, and this is the information ArcGIS Online use to show it on the map. And the last one here we have the GPX, And GPX looks very similar to how KML looks like. It's like a markup language used to show geographic information or GPS information. And here is the GPS lat and long. And when we add it to our map, like let's say choose add from file and add the GPX import layer, you will see that we will have a line, and actually this line represents small points coming from a GPS location. Let's hide the states. So this data coming from a GPS location came in a format of like GPX, so you can add it to your map as well. So now you know the difference between GPX, Geojson, CSV or text file or a shapefile, and this is the formats you can add it by clicking add layer from file. Now the last option to add a layer is add map notes. So this one will allow you to add notes for your map. So for example, I can come here and let's hide the transportation and say I want to add map notes. It will ask you what is the name for your notes. I will say GPS locations, just an example, and what template you want to use. So you have different templates to use. You can try each template and see what's the difference between them. But if we chose map notes here, for example, and say create, you'll see here on the left side you have options to add any feature that looks like a pen or looks like a triangle. You can add an area, you can add lines, you can add points. And the way to add this map notes to your map, you select an item and you click anywhere and you will say what is the details for that. And we will make a separate video for the map notes so we can go through all these options, but I showed you right now how can you add a map note. And after you add every single layer, when you go to the details, you will see that it show up here on the content, and you can actually work on the layer. You can hide it, you can show it, or you can reorder the layers however you want. And always remember, whenever you do any changes to your map, make sure before you close your tab, you go here and say save, or save as if you want to save it as a separate map. And when you add any layer to your map, if you want to identify any feature, you just click on the feature on the map and it will show you all the attributes for this specific feature. And if you have the ability to edit this feature, you can click on edit and you will be able to open the edit window and edit this feature. Other layers you cannot edit it. For example, the auto theft, I cannot do edit on it. So if I go to this layer and I click on any feature, you will see that I can see all the information, but I don't have the option to edit it because we are not the owners of this layer. It's actually hosted on one of Esri servers. We are allowed to use it, but we are not allowed to edit it or to stop it. So that's the difference between you add a layer that you own and you add a layer that you don't own. This one you can edit it and this one you can't. So that's it for this video. How can you add layers to your map? I added to the course data folder all the type of layers that you can add to your map, so you can upload all the type of layers and you can open them as I open them right now, and you can see the difference between these types. So that's it for this video, and if you have any questions, please contact me and let me know, and we'll see you in the next video.